What up, peeps? Mr. Bones back at you, and it is once again Wild Eye Wednesday. And what we're going to be talking about is 2020's The Bloody Man. This is directed and written by Daniel Benedict, co-written by Casey Clark, starring Tuesday Knight as Kim Harris, Lisa Wilcox as Lori Harris, Jeremy Carr as Daniel Harris, David Daniel as Sam Harris, Olivia Sanders as Amy Harris, and Sam Haddon as Michael Harris, and Nicholas Red as the Bloody Man. It's funny, on IMDb, the top billing is Tuesday Knight, Lisa Wilcox, and Jeremy Carr as the father, and then I had to go down where you click see all cast to find the kids, who is the main stars of the movie that you see all through the movie. This actually is more what the Bloody Man looks like in the movie than that, which looks cooler, but what are you going to do? He has been awakened. Following the death of his mother, a young boy's obsession with a comic book she gave him called The Bloody Man summons the ancient monster from its pages, who stalks him and his family until they unite to end his reign of terror, starring Tuesday Knight and Lisa Wilcox from the original Nightmare on Elm Street series. It stars Tuesday Knight as Kim Harris, the new mother of Sam, after the father, Daniel, loses his wife. Lori Harris, played by Lisa Wilcox. So she plays in the flashback scenes as the original wife and mother. And this is about Sam dealing with losing his mother and having to try to accept a new mother figure, a stepmother. And I guess they showed a flashback, and the family all used to be close and get along. Now Sam doesn't want a whole lot to do with his younger sister, and the older brother doesn't want nothing to do with either of them. Michael Harris, he's an asshole, and all he cares about is his girlfriend and anything that doesn't have to do with the family. The father goes on a business trip and says for them all to stay home while he's gone and to try to connect with Kim. Meanwhile, Tuesday Knight is playing like a real bitch character. I really couldn't get into her character at first. It's like, what the hell is her problem? She's just straight rude to the kids all the time, yelling at them all the time. And it turns out where Sam had released the Bloody Man from reading about him in a comic, he had taking over her body, or like cloned her body, mimicked her body, shape-shifted her body. I don't know what it's called, but all through the movie they're running from him, and they eventually find the original Kim tied up in a closet in the basement. And the Bloody Man is, he doesn't look like this, but he's kind of cool. He's a bald dude with blood running down his face, and he wears like his long coat with like these buttons or silver buttons or pins all the way down. Kind of, it reminds me of a mix of Pinhead from Hellraiser and Freddy Krueger. There's a scene where he loses his arm, and then to freak out one of the brothers, he just throws his arm out and grows it back. It reminded me of a scene like from Nightmare on Elm Street. There's Easter eggs, like the oldest brother has a Nightmare on Elm Street 4 poster on his wall, which stars, Tuesday Knight. The opening of the movie has a scene with 3 girls walking down the street holding books, I think, and it kind of reminded me, it's kind of like a Easter egg throwback to the original Halloween. This guy's a big fan of horror movies and He-Man and stuff, and he had been since a kid. There's a cool ass documentary which is also on YouTube. It's on the disc. It's also on YouTube of him talking about the Kickstarter and talking about growing up as a kid, being a big fan of He-Man and horror movies, and he wrote The Bloody Man at 9 years old. But he said, of course, as an adult, we rewrote it to be good. He's a big fan of He-Man, so he has the character Sam be a big fan of something called Barbarians of something, that the figures look just like He-Man figures. And the comic came with the He-Man-like figure, just like the original He-Man. This was a fun movie. The back compares it to along the lines of The Gate, The Monster Squad, and Stranger Things. Monster Squad somewhat, I guess, because it's three kids trying to find a monster. I found it more along the lines of similar to a Goosebumps story and the Fear Street trilogy, because there's one point where these kids sit on the bed and take turns telling stories, and the story Sam keeps telling keeps going back to this old time that reminds me of the setting of one of the Fear Street movies. But this is a fun movie. It is low budget, so if you don't like low budget, you probably won't like it. I know a lot of people can't handle low budget films. It is low budget, but it was fun. If you like low budget movies and films that sound like what I described, I'd recommend checking it out. That's what I watched. Peace.